Hello and welcome to today's graphic design tip of the day. For today's tip, we're going into Adobe Photoshop per request to be able to learn how to create a double exposure image. It's super trendy right now, so I want to show you some ins and outs of what you can do to create your best option. I have this image of a girl as well as a mountain that I'm going to be merging together, both stock images, but I'm going to start with the face here. First thing you want to do, of course, is to unlock your layer. Just click on the lock icon so that you can edit that. And I'm going to then select the girl. So you have a couple options here. Since I have a pretty solid background, I'm going to use my object selection tool to just go around the outside here and quickly grab the background. If you don't and you use your object selection tool or one of the other selection tools to select the person, remember you can always go to select inverse to select the opposite to have that background layer selected. And if you do mess up, there's anything that you need to fix with it, you can always add your filter, your mask here, to go in with your brush tool and either add or subtract. You can take away or add back to your selection. Make sure your brush is at a high enough opacity so you can actually make those changes. Anything that has a nice fuzzy edge, you can also change your brush and adjust the hardness there, like the hair or something, to make sure that it's nice and soft in your transition when you bring it over. Okay. So once you are completely satisfied with that selection, you have your background selected. I'm going to make a brand new layer right underneath it and hit delete on my keyboard to remove that background. Now I will be selecting her again in a little bit here, but before I do that, I'm going to go to filter and camera raw filter to change this image to black and white. The reason why I'm in here to turn down my vibrance and my saturation is because I can go through all these other options too while I'm in this menu rather than just going to image adjustments black and white. It's going to let me adjust my exposure, and I'm actually going to add a little bit more clarity to crisp it up just a little bit. Make sure you can see all the details so you can play around with those options a little bit more here than you would be able to on your just image adjustments color balance. So now that I have my black and white image, let's go ahead and grab that mountain picture with my move tool and drag it over to the other page. Turn your opacity down just a little bit so you can see where you're placing it, and hit Control T or Command T if you're on a MacBook to stretch it larger and place it exactly where you want it to go on top of her. Okay, and once you have that there, I'm going to turn my opacity back up on that layer, hide it just for a second so I can select the girl again. I'm using my magic wand to click just once in the background and it should automatically select her. Now there's a little bit of an issue there with the hair, so I'm going to go to my quick mask option and just get a little bit closer there. Okay, so once I have my selection perfected exactly how I want to using my selection tools and your mask if you need it, we're going to go ahead and bring back the layer that was above it and change it down to your screen option. Once it's there, we're going to add a layer mask to this layer. So notice I still have my selection here. Once I click that layer mask, it will automatically remove that background piece behind it. And I do want to, on the layer all the way behind, to actually grab one of these background colors. So using my paint bucket tool, I'm going to hold down my Alt key, grab one of the background colors, bring that back, and then on that background layer, drop in with my paint bucket that color. All right, and I'm ready for my final touches now. So one is you can always go to your layer mask that you have here using your brush set to black, turn down your hardness and your opacity so you can do little bits at a time. I can go through and bring back parts of the face that I really want to keep. This is where your artistic freedom is going to come into play. You get to decide what you want to keep and what you don't within the picture and the background. Little bits at a time are better than working too fast with this. And if I do mess up, if I add back something that I end up not wanting, remember that you can always switch this to white instead of black and fix those. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. This could be a finished design, but I want to do one last step here, and that is to actually make a copy of my background image. And on that copy layer, I'm going to delete the layer mask and change that to screen if it's not already, so that I can see that same effect going into the background here. And I do want to add a layer mask to it so I can remove parts of it again. So now I can go back to her and the background and change anything else that I want to bring back or add to for my final touches here. Okay, and after going through and making a lot of fine-tune adjustments here, this is my final result. I hope you enjoyed today's graphic design tip of the day.